Hello, this is forecaster Dante Avery Brown Roy from the Weather Van Storm Prediction Center. This is the first edition of the Winter Weather Podcast. Hopefully, I'll be able to do this once a week on Sundays, and it's just going to outline aspects of the winter in the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, or the eastern half of the United States. And if there's any chance of any form of winter precipitation or winter weather, whether it be polar vortex, the cold air in general, snow, ice, or just a normal rainstorm, or it being like it'll probably be later this week, 60 something degrees on the East Coast with rain. Well, areas like Chicago get another blizzard. Anyway, all that and more in these episodes, but today we're going to focus on what went wrong with this winter storm, and I got to talk to all those people who just don't want snow. So just stay tuned. Okay, so first of all, what I wanted to do is we're going to go over what went wrong with this other storm that just went through, one of the first major winter storms. Well, it wasn't major in the DMV, that's for sure, unless you were in like Western Maryland. Even there, they didn't really get a huge winter storm. The big winters were areas of Pennsylvania, New York, Boston. Some of them got like 6 to 8 inches of snow. But here's what went wrong, because you were trying to thread a needle with this type of storm. And when you look at over here, this is what the computer models, I use a still frame of a former computer model, right? This is about where the low pressure system was located, right off of it was still developing. It wasn't a tightly enclosed storm. If it was tightly enclosed, a really strong storm, and it had closed off right there off of the coast of Delaware, and you didn't have it still like a weak drawn out thing, it would have compressed, allowed more cold air to be drawn in. You probably would have had snow in the big cities of DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, maybe some accumulating snow. But this was a weaker wave of low pressure system. It doesn't really interact with the northern stream until it gets farther up the coast. That's the other the other aspect that you see up here in Canada. This little winter system that is coming through. It's a little bit of energy as a weak area of low pressure system was coming through the areas of southern Canada, and this ended up transferring its energy off of the coast over there off of the New Jersey, Long Island coast, and allowed this thing to really become a really decent sized nor'easter for the first winter storm of the season. That's also another factor, that if this had condensed and compressed, if it did it too soon, it would have wrapped up too soon. It would have come right up over the areas like DC, and it still would have been rain. So you were trying to thread a needle. Another issue, there was no high pressure system that was sitting up over the northeastern, southeastern side. You typically want a nice high pressure system about 150 to 250 miles northwest of Buffalo, New York, and a cold area of high pressure. We had a retreating area of high pressure that was sitting up here right up between Maine and Canada, and that also induces northeasterly winds. The ocean isn't below freezing. You'll get temperatures rising up. Well, Dante, it wasn't necessarily warm, it was a cold rain. Exactly. The freezing point, though, is 32 degrees. It can snow all the way up to like in the 40s. It can do that. But the freezing point, it doesn't matter really what the freezing point is at the surface. It more so matters in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And in the upper levels of the atmosphere, it was 35, 36, 37. So it matched the lower aspects. That's why you got rain. Upper elevations are colder. You got your snow. So Pennsylvania, congratulations. New York, Boston, Maine, where you always get snow. Congratulations, you got your snow. Now here's my TED Talk for For those in the District of Maryland, Virginia, people that know me know that I love snow. I've wanted snow for a long time. And the amount of happiness that people had that it didn't snow, you know, it's okay. One of these days it will. And I'm gonna text every single one of you. Mention every single one of you. We have not had an inch of snow in the DMV, in certain areas of the DMV, in about 3 years. You've had your turn. It's okay. It's okay. There's my TED Talk. Anyway, for those of us that want snow, let's look at the future models and see if there's anything really substantial that where there's a chance. Okay. Now, one rule of thumb that I keep is that if the models predict or project a storm to run up the Appalachian Mountains or they run up west, be it into the Great Lakes, and a blizzard happens in the Midwest, that model, even well out in the future, will probably be right. So it usually is not incorrect when it comes to snowing way out west. Is incorrect when it comes to over here in the east. Anyway, just me ranting. Let's look at, this is the low pressure system that's sitting off of the coast that's really wrapping up as it heads off into the areas of Canada and wraps up the snow that was hit Boston and southern areas of Maine. And you have upslope snows that are happening in the mountains of West Virginia, right? It's going to be cold. Behind this, it will be colder as a result. I like the cold, but give me the cold with 2 feet of snow. Anyway, let's move on. As we head up into Tuesday, into Wednesday, you see this massive storm that's developing. But look all the way here. This is some pretty warm air. This is that's also moving in the direction. This is by about Tuesday. You're getting nice amounts of snow in Nebraska and Omaha, northern areas of Missouri. As the storm really bombs out, and it's going to really fetch a lot of energy from the Gulf of Mexico. Energy will not, and precipitation will not be an issue. You'll get snow in areas like Chicago and Detroit, and the areas of Iowa. You see a little signature here of snow, but that's in the really upper elevations. That'll all switch over with the low placement here coming up through Indiana. Even Chicago might change over to rain, to be honest, for a little while, which it does in this upcoming model run as you head on into Tuesday evening. And you get rain all the way, everybody, Pennsylvania, everybody's getting rain out of this one. And even some heavy rain, maybe even some thunder as you head up into the areas of North Carolina. The low pressure really winds up. You get blizzard-like conditions in areas like Wisconsin. As the storm really winds up, it also drags down some significantly cold air. You might have some thunderstorms in the areas of Washington, D.C., all the way up into Maine. Look at how far the warm air comes up. So you might have some thunderstorms. It might be in the 60s late Tuesday night into Wednesday. It'll be a rainy 60, but 60s. Cold air comes in as this storm wraps up and it moves out. As you head off into around the 11th and 12th, you see here comes another storm. The atmosphere has like muscle memory, so it almost does the same thing, but a little bit further to the south. Areas like Detroit and Ohio will get in on some potentially blizzard-like conditions, but again, we'll be warm right ahead of that with some rain. Not as much moisture as the last time, but you get the drift. Some really, really cold air comes and gets dragged down behind that. And the normal person will be like, okay, snow. Remember I said that you want a high pressure system sitting about 200 to 250 miles northwest of Buffalo. This low high pressure system is sitting over Nebraska and South Dakota and all of that is to your west. This is almost a similar situation to what just happened. A couple models have brought this in as snow, but look at this. Look at this. It takes a favorable track. It's just, there's not cold air there to help out the storm. This is a great track. 10 years ago, this is about 2-3 feet of snow anywhere from Richmond to Boston. Beautiful track, but anyway, storm rolls out. You get more cold air behind that. You get a couple little waves in the longer future range, but that'll all change as things go by. And why do I say that this will probably be a major rain event? You go to the globals. Here's the European. Let's go to the 12Z. And this is about this is that second storm that comes through next weekend. You get the same amount of cold air, and as you head off into the last part of this system, this thing does the same thing as the other systems do. You get a blizzard in areas like Chicago and Detroit, and you get a warm cloud of air. The storm is transferring here. It'll probably ride up, according to, if this model were to be projected out, it will ride up I-95, and the big cities get rain, the western areas get snow. And then it gets cold again behind it. So right now, it doesn't look too favorable. It can happen, but you'll be threading a needle. This storm that about mid-month, around the 16th, 15th to 17th, is your best shot. And you'd be threading a needle with it. It's got to snow at some point, right? And I'm not talking about like a flurry or dusting. You got to get like 2 feet in one of these things, right? Anyway. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the weather, because it's the only weather you got. Once again, for those who have been doing the no snow dance, it's okay. Keep doing it. It'll snow eventually. And I keep receipts. All right. Y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday.